Hello and welcome to today's live stream. It's been about a week, but I'm excited to be back. Do me a favor and let me know where you're joining us from. Hey, what's up, buddy?
I'm here to photobomb you.
How we doing?
We're doing. You see Holly's fitness?
Hello, we have just under 2 minutes left before we get started. Do me a huge favor and let me know where you're joining us from. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. I was catching up on my news photographer magazine. And honestly, so I recently joined the NPP, I think it's NPPA, the National, it's like a photojournalist organization. And they have this photo magazine. It's the National Press Photographers Association, NPPA, and they have news photographer magazine. I didn't even know anything like this existed. And honestly, like, I'm not a news or a photojournalist at all, but some of the stuff that's in here, there's so much inspiration just to, kind of have that photojournalistic look or approach to different photography. So definitely take a look, check it out, NPPA. They're not like sponsoring the show or anything, but it was just, again, I didn't know it was around, so maybe you didn't know either. So let's see who is joining us today. We have Mike joining us from Copley, Ohio. Hello, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Karna, hello from Costco, aka Canton, Michigan. Hello. We have Victor joining us from Seattle. Hello, Victor. Hope you're doing well. Hope to make it out to Seattle and check out the peninsula. I think we're planning to go out in August. I go out every November usually, but I might be moving it up to August. So love Seattle. It's a great area. Opinion on the 600, 800 F11 rumors, genius or madness. That's one of our things that we're going to talk about today. Don't want to jump the shark on that one. So let's go ahead and jump into our presentation for today. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you guys being here and just going along and sharing with me one of my favorite topics, and that is the news about the industry that we all love, and that is the photographic industry. So I wanted to first start off with saying we are launching another episode coming soon. Episode 9 will be out this weekend, so keep an eye on that. And the Talking Pixels podcast is all about taking basically your hobby to a career and taking you step by step on how to build a photography business. So I think the last one we talked about was websites, and then this is part 2 of the websites that's going live. So we're trying to stay a step ahead. We're trying to get as much content pushed out as we can. A few housekeeping notes. We are open at the store here from 10 to 7, Monday through Friday, and 10 to 5 on Saturday. And we're doing our part to make sure that everything stays so fresh and so clean. And then we're doing that by disinfecting anything that people touch. We are doing that by making sure that, none of our staff here is feeling sick or feeling ill. We are doing that by limiting the number of people that are in the store. We're limiting, keeping our masks on whenever we're working with customers. And then we are requiring, as of today, that customers wear masks when they come in their store. So if you don't feel comfortable coming in, that's totally fine. We do offer the curbside pickup as well. So that's something that if you want to take advantage of, you absolutely can. So what are our goals for today? So first and foremost is to update you on the photography news and trends and what's going on. One thing I love doing is just kind of chewing the fat about the industry and just getting feedback. I am someone that absolutely loves this industry. I'm very passionate about the photography industry. So I love keeping an eye on the news and fun things that are coming out. And that's kind of what the purpose of the Friday Focus is. It's also to pull you away from the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, the doubt of what's going on around us, things that we can't control. My goal is to bring you back in, reel you back in, and try to get you back to something that you love, that you know, that you are passionate about, and that is photography. And then finally, my goal is to get you motivated to try something new. At the end of the day, photography is great because there's so many different directions that you can go in. For example, let's say you want to do, get more into photojournalism, you can. Let's say you want to do some cool food photography, you can do that. Maybe you want to go abstract and you want to do, some painting or turn your photos into painting. Photography allows you to do that. So my goal is to share some tutorials and tips and tricks to get you going in that direction. So let's go ahead and get started with the news block. First and foremost, this was an article that I found. I've been following Rachel for a long time. If you go to thelawtog.com, I would definitely urge you to check out that website and subscribe. So the Law Tog, she is a lawyer and photographer, hence the Law Tog, and she talks all about photography and the law and things from contract law to litigation that's going on to liability. She covers all of that. So she actually put together a really good resource of protest photography and what your rights are. So I've been seeing, people post online, pictures from the different protests and stuff, and it's awesome that that story is being told. But it's important that you know your rights. So that's why I wanted to share this resource with you. You can head over to thelawtog.com and, like I said, find this article. It's from about a week ago, just under a week ago, or at the end of the day, every day at 6 o'clock, we send out an email with all the links to the things that I talk about. So you could just get it in your inbox as well by just going to thepixelconnection.com and clicking subscribe. So we actually got hands-on with this lens, and I did an unboxing video. So that just kind of talks about the lens at face value. Yes, it goes from 28 to 200. Yes, it works for Sony E-mount, but we don't go in depth with it. that video is actually coming next week. So we like to get hands-on, and we don't, like, I noticed a lot of videos that are already out there on YouTube, and they were kind of, in our opinion, like, we want to actually put it through its paces in at least 4 or 5 days of use with the product before we put kind of our stamp of approval on it. So we'll be doing that this week. Eeyore, our review ninja, will be doing some tests versus other lenses and just seeing what this lens can do. But this week, Tamron did release the 28-200 for the Sony E-mount system. And this lens is awesome because it's so small and compact. I should have brought it with me. It's back in the back. I could have grabbed it. But it's great if you're looking for that all-purpose lens. You know, at the wide end, you have 28, and then at the long end, you have 200 millimeters. So that offers a lot of, you know, especially if you're just going to travel with it and you just want something on your camera at all times. Or for me, like, this would be a lens that I would have attached to my camera next to me in my car at all times, because I might want something wide or I want something a little more zoomed in, and I don't have to go all the way to the back of my car and, you know, put my 70-200 on when I can just have this on there. So it's exciting that, you know, we're seeing new and different lenses come out from the manufacturers like Tamron. I wanted to say a few people did stop by, so we're going to go ahead and say hello to them. So hello, Les. Hope you're doing well. And hello, Jen, and congrats. So Jen actually, Jen and Travis just moved into their new studio space. So I wanted to reach out and say congratulations to Fox and Brazen for opening a downtown Main Street studio. Amidst, you know, all the corona where things are, you know, retracting, they're going all in with their studio space, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So congrats to them as well. So let's move right along in our news coverage with Panasonic announcing an all-new webcam software, or basically it allows you to use your Panasonic camera, whether you have a GH5, a G9, a GH5S, S1, S1R, S1H. If you have any of those cameras, they normally would work with the Lumix tethering app, and that's a free app that comes from Panasonic. And now what it allows you to do, it basically gets everything off of the screen, so that way you can use it as kind of a webcam. So other tools like the Canon one, well, actually it'll show up in the drop down, and it's actually fooling the computer into thinking that a webcam's attached. With the Panasonic, the Lumix Tether app, you basically are going to do a screencast. So in, let's say you open up Zoom, when you go to share your screen, you just share your screen of the, you know, your well-lit image. So that's what it's doing. It's not doing sound. It's not doing, it doesn't show up as a true webcam, but it at least gives people an option, if they have one of these Panasonic cameras, to be able to use, you know, have better quality video on web calls, on Facebook Lives, anywhere you would normally use a webcam, or where you can share your screen, you can now use your Panasonic camera. So kudos to Panasonic for putting that out there as just a free update. And it's just awesome that all these companies have come together. So now we have Fuji, Canon, and Lumix that have come out with a solution for people to use cameras that they already have, and now use them to, you know, as newer tools, as our needs have changed with these cameras. Now they have basically put that software out there for free. So it's awesome that these camera manufacturers have done this. So this one was pretty cool. So this is Photoshop, and I'm actually going to my phone to pull up some examples. Photoshop released, or Adobe released, Photoshop Camera. And I am minor, like, if there was like a low, medium, high for my level of excitement for this app, I would say it's like a medium. Meaning, could I do without it? Maybe, but I see some value or some benefit to using the app. So basically it allows you to create different looks like other apps that are out on the market. But what's great is Adobe knows a lot about images. They know a lot about how pixels work, about how, you know, especially now that they've basically gotten a lot more funding with the subscription model, they're putting so much R&D into this stuff. So now they have a couple different, it's basically a camera app that allows you to apply filters, or what they're calling lenses, to your photos. So you can see here, like, this is, I don't know if this is gonna turn out good or not. Let's see how good it'll focus. Dual pixel autofocus. So this is like a portrait mode almost. And without actually turning on like portrait mode in the camera, it'll allow you to do that, but it doesn't just like give you depth of field. What it does is it'll actually like pop the things that you would want popped in a portrait. So if you're taking a selfie, which you can't normally, you know, have portrait mode on, it'll actually give you that portrait-like look. Or if let's say you wanted to create some pop art. So this was live, it was doing this. So there's our friend manager mat, if you will, a little pop art that I created with him. But there's also other filters that are built in for things like food, for drama, for all these different things. So it's just a cool camera app, and it's all this stuff is done at Capture. So let's see if I can pull up a good example. Let me switch it around here, and I will put it on the pop art setting. So right now you can see me, and it actually creates that pop art live. So as I'm moving, that is all changing around me. And if you notice, it knows that my face is there. So I mean, it's tracking me, it knows what's going on. So it's not just applying like this base level filter, it's doing all of this in live time, it's like just as you're taking the photo. So it's just another creative tool that you can have on your mobile device, because the best camera you have is the one that's with you. So a lot of times that is our cell phone. So it's just a free tool that allows us to create some unique work. And there's actually some useful things, like there's food lenses on there, and they're actually working with creators to create kind of lens packs. So that way, let's say you really like what Peter McKinnon does, you know, with his videos or his photos, you know, there could potentially be a lens pack that comes out that gives you a similar style. So very much like Lightroom presets, I see this kind of growing in that same direction. So it's a free app, so definitely take a look at it. Maybe something to play with this weekend. So let's jump into our education and tutorials block. And before we do that, I just want to jump over to chat, making sure that I didn't miss anything. The question was, it's free, and the answer is yes. So I just went to the app and I clicked on login with my Adobe ID, and it let me in. So I do subscribe to the photographer plan on Creative Cloud. So, you know, your mileage may vary if you're not a subscriber, but usually in the past, I don't think they've charged for apps like this or apps like Spark or those kind of spin-off apps. So I'm going to assume here that it's free. So definitely take a look at it. And if anybody's on here that's not a subscriber, if you could just download it and let us know, that would be awesome sauce. I just logged in and it was free for me. So this was cool. So we try to go every winter down to Florida. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is get into underwater photography. And I've often, you know, looked into like setting up a resort course to get my scuba, and it's something that I haven't got to. It's on the bucket list, but it's just not there yet. So this was really cool because it allows you to take free online classes about underwater photography. And it's a mix of some free classes and some paid ones, but the free ones are great. There's like macro for underwater, getting started with processing, like it's processing your photos as well. And it's just all this free content for videography and photography for capturing underwater. So if you just head over to bluewateru.com, there's some great classes, great free trainings that are available if it's something that you're interested in. And don't think, yeah, well, I don't do wildlife, you know, I do portraits. Well, have you ever seen underwater portraits? They actually look kind of cool. So that could actually help you with these as well. Again, trying something new, adding something different to your offerings. For example, Jen and Travis, you should totally do underwater wedding dress shots. I think that would be amazing and cool and fun. Underwater food photography. There you go. Mike, you could do some underwater food photography. So again, there's a little bit of something for everybody on there. Definitely take a look at that. So this was interesting. This is actually kind of a harder topic to explain to people, is diffraction. And, you know, why does your lens quality go down at higher apertures? So this video goes in depth. It will tell you things like, you know, at f/22, you know, why something might look softer. If when in reality, you're like, well, I was always taught, you know, as you go on, more is in focus, but why is this looking, you know, soft? And it goes through and explains diffraction. So this is something that you should really look into, especially if you're wondering this about your lenses, or you're wondering like, what is diffraction? Watch this video, because I want to say it's like a 3 or 4 minute video that takes you through and gives examples, and it helps you just understand what's happening on your cameras. So it's like, when I first started getting this like purple fringing, I'm like, why is this? And then, you know, from there I learned what that was, and I learned how to correct for it, and chromatic aberration. And, you know, this is the same thing. I don't want you to be shooting at, you know, f/22 and then wondering, you know, why your stuff isn't looking how you want it to. So I threw this video in there because I think it could just be, for those techie, geeky people out there, I think it could be very useful. So I want to let you know Sigma is still doing their shot at home contest. So if you head over to their website, which is sigmaphoto.com, you could actually see the Sigma shot at home banner there, and you can click on it. And I definitely urge you to enter. It takes a couple minutes to enter, but it's a great way to win some extra cash. And I love that Sigma has really rallied around photographers during this time. They had partnered with us for the food drive or the proceeds that went to the Cleveland Food Bank. Anytime there's been a live stream on, they've done additional savings for photographers, and then they're also doing contests. So definitely take a look at their website and check out that. It's a great way to win, a little bit extra money. Also, if you're looking for anything that we did previously, any of the live streams when we used to do it every day, I don't know about you, but I missed you guys. I miss seeing you guys every day. But if you want to go back and look at some of those other or earlier webcasts, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/thepixelconnection, and you can access all of the ones that we did previously. From this point forward, we're going to be doing every Wednesday and Friday. So next Wednesday, we actually have Sean Robinson scheduled to come on from Panasonic to talk all about astrophotography. So join me here at noon next week and learn a little bit about, next Wednesday, to learn a little bit about astrophotography. Now's the fun stuff. Let's get into the rumor roundup. So there is a rumor that I just saw, I saw this morning, but I think it broke late yesterday, where Sigma is bringing a 100 to 400 FE. So for the Sony mirrorless users, it looks like there may be a 100 to 400 coming, which to me, it's really exciting because now we're starting to see that longer glass come out for the Sony system. It's native, but it's not first party. So now we're starting to see other manufacturers say, okay, this mirrorless thing, it might be here to stay. It took them long enough. Geez, oh man. And Sigma and Tamron have actually been really good the last couple of years putting out third-party lens that is designed for mirrorless first. They didn't just adapt old optics over. They're actually, a lot of these they're building from the ground up, especially with things like the 70 to 180 or the 28 to 200 that I was just talking about. These are purposefully made for mirrorless cameras and taking advantage of that smaller size. So now it looks like we're going to be getting a 100 to 400. So if it's anything like the previous lenses from Sigma, it's probably going to be a little bit cheaper as well. So if you recently switched over to the Sony FE line, and you're looking for that longer lens, or maybe you're still adapting your old lens, this should be an exciting announcement for you. Sigma has been knocking it out of the park with quality glass for the last couple years, and I would expect nothing but that from this announcement. 2020 Canon lens roadmap for the RF mount. As many of you know, I am a Canon shooter, and I am super excited about the all new, I think it's the R5 and the R6. Yes, that's come out. It is the R5 and the R6. That is the new mirrorless cameras that are coming out from Canon. And the RF line kind of got off to a rocky start with the EOS R. It was plagued with things that photographers, were come to used to with mirrorless, things like in-body image stabilization and dual memory card slots. EOS R showed up to the party without those things. And I mean, that would be like showing up to a social event when you're supposed to be bringing a covered dish and you just come eat everybody else's covered dishes. That's just not cool, Canon. But it looks like they're finally catching up. They're finally catching up with these new cameras, and they're also catching up with lenses. So if you haven't had a chance to look at the Canon RF glass, it is some of the sharpest on the market. I actually put Kevlar gloves on just to get it out of the, I'm kidding. But it is super, super sharp. And they're doing different things with the lens lineup. So they're stabilizing, and they're going all the way to that wide end of 15. So they're not just taking their 16 to 35, throwing that RF mount on it and saying, here, go buy this lens. They're doing some pretty unique stuff with it. So looking at this lens lineup, I had to read it 2 or 3 times and double check the rumor sites. And Mike, I think you brought it up too. A 600 f11 and then an 800 millimeter f11. So this is really confusing to me, and I don't know what the DO signifies. Caitlin, is there any other lenses that are DO for Canon RF? Do we know what that means? Anybody? No? Okay, so cricket's chirping. So I don't know what that DO means. The IS is image stabilized and STM is the motor that it uses. But F11, so why would they release a lens? Again, it's super, super long. So I'm thinking this is it's meant to be compact. At F11, maybe they can do less elements, and that makes it smaller, but again, I would think like where these were used, you know, at f11, it's not going to let a ton of light in. So what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this actually? On like, what is it used for? I'm actually going to jump into the comments here because it looks like we have some things here. So underwater dress photos, buy me a pool, I'll get right on that. We're scuba certified. Yeah, I love my EOS R. Michael Rhodes, me too, love mine. So Michael says DO is using engraved lens elements like a lighthouse lens to make the lens smaller and lighter. Interesting, diffractive optics. So I'm wondering if it's similar to like what Nikon does with like their PFs, maybe. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this lineup because, again, I love that they're doing longer glass for the mirrorless system because across all of the mirrorless full frame offerings, there's not really super long glass. Panasonic doesn't have long glass. Sony does. Sony recently started to come out with a couple long lenses. Fuji has, they go out to like 200, I think is their longest. So it's awesome to see that people that have been hold-offs or haven't transitioned over because they haven't had that longer glass, it looks like now they're going to have an opportunity to have those longer optics. So super excited to see this lens. And we're getting teleconverters finally, that 100 to 500. Again, they're not just doing their traditional, 1 to 400. No, they're going out to 500. It looks like they're coming out with a 70 to 200 f4. So that thing's got to, the 70 to 200 is already small. How much smaller is that f4 going to be? I'm excited for that as well. Another thing I'm excited about is Pixel Photo Fest. So as of today, we are still moving forward with the August 14th through 16th. We are probably, I'm telling you guys, we're probably going to be making some changes to that next week, but it hasn't all been ironed out yet. So just stay tuned. We are still having an event. There's no doubt about that. We just might have to change dates and times as far as like how long it's going to go on those days or if it only goes to one day. But I promise you guys that we are still doing an educational event and it's going to be awesome. I promise you that. So we've already announced quite a few of our speakers and they are all in. They are ready to rock and roll and teach you guys all about the things that they do, the different areas that they focus on. And if you want to come, if you haven't signed up for Pixel Photo Fest, you can actually do it for 99 bucks. So you get $100 off. It's normally $200. You get $100 off by using the code LUNCHANDLEARN. I also want to let you know something else that we are doing this week, and this has been super popular at the store. We're doing free Fuji rentals. Yes, you heard me right. Free. As in free, like a free lunch. So you can come in and rent even just for the weekend. Like this weekend, I'm actually going to take the X100V out for a spin because I did the first like hands-on with it. But I love that camera. It's a fun camera. So this weekend, I want to take it out and play with it. I was going to get that one or the X Pro 3. So if anybody has any thoughts on that, put it in the comments because I could be swayed either way. The X Pro 3 looks pretty cool too. But I'm gonna take it out and play with it because it doesn't cost anything. So if you're looking at Fuji or you've always wondered like what is this mirrorless thing, you might as well take a Fuji for a test drive while we're offering this. There is no cost. You just come in and say, hey, I want to take that home with me and I want to rent that and we will get that taken care of for you. Also, if you're looking to purchase anything Fuji, now's a great time to do it. A, they're doing awesome rebates, but B, if you take advantage of the Fuji Tech Time, which is where you sit down with one of their techs and get your questions answered. So let's say you're like, hey, how do I do macro photography with the stuff that I have? And they'll walk you through it, and that doesn't cost you anything. And then at the end of that talk, they'll actually give you a voucher that you can use in order to save some cash money. So definitely take advantage of that too. It's the Fuji Tech Time. And if you go to our website, which you can see listed here, you'll be able to take advantage of those offers or just give us a call, message us on Facebook, however you want to get a hold of us, and we can get you connected with that. So if you're wondering how you can get the slides today, you can definitely go to our website, which is thepixelconnection.com, and hit the subscribe button. It'll pop up. You just have to put your email in, and we send it out every Friday at 6 o'clock. So that wraps today's live stream. If you do have questions, I'm actually going to come over here and see. Yes, the Nikon PF is the same thing. So yes, Mike Vrobel, thank you. The phase Fresnel. Yep. I assumed it was. I guess I just haven't looked at any of the the Canon versions of that. I don't know of any other lenses that are currently like that. So thanks for the information. I appreciate that. Victor, what software are you using in your live stream? I'm actually using the Capture 4K, and it goes into 90D. So that's the hardware that I'm using. And then I'm using a software called StreamYard in order to actually broadcast it out there. 70-200 f4 is one that I'm looking forward to as well. Again, I'm thinking it's going to be a super small, like a lens that size. You know what I mean? Because the 70-200 is literally about that big, and that's the 2.8. So imagine how much smaller that f4 could be. That is going to be sweet. And the low light performance of this camera, from everything that I've seen, is amazing. And even like I was watching a couple Canon photographers, and a lot of them are using the f4 on like traditional mirrored bodies, because the technology has just gotten so good with the low light performance that they don't want to carry the 2.8, and they've actually been using the f4s. So again, I think we're at a really good time with not only Canon, but in photography in general, because these cameras just keep getting better and better. And oh, hello, good job, and thanks for all the info. Absolutely, and thank you guys all for joining us. If you ever need absolutely anything, you could always reach us here at the store. Our phone number is there on the screen. Facebook, Instagram, we try to be everywhere. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome week. We'll see you guys.